everyone, and welcome to Epic Yarn Gems. Today I am going to be showing you how to do a cable stitch. The sample that I'm going to be showing you is not in a round, it is just a straight back and forth, and also this is a smaller cable stitch. You may see others with 3 strands that go back and forth, but this one has 2. Also, just for decoration, I always like to put like a line on each side of the cable. It just accentuates it more, but you don't have to do that. Obviously, if you're following a pattern, just follow what they say. But if you're creating a pattern, this is a nice small cable stitch. To get started, I started with a row of chains. I chained 18 and went back into the second stitch from my hook and started my row of double crochets. When you're working on a cable stitch, it always works best if you are doing this from a row of double crochets. Alright, so let's get into the stitch. So I am on row 2, I do a chain 2 and turn, and then I'm going to do 4 double crochets into the next 4 stitches. These are just normal double crochets. After we finish the 4, this is where we're going to start making the line that I talked about, the decorative line, and we are going to go into the post now. So we are going to do a front post double crochet. I'll also put a link to how to do a post crochet in the links above. Then I go in to the next post and do a back post double crochet. And what this is doing is it's just accentuating that line on the side. After doing that, this is where we're going to get into the cable. You're going to skip the next 2 posts, and in that third post, you are going to do a front post triple crochet. So this is making a stitch that's a little longer, and it actually, when you're making the cable, it helps because that stitch is longer to get that back and forth cable look. We're going to do another front post triple crochet in the next stitch. Now we're going to go back to those 2 stitches that we skipped. Sometimes they might be hard to find, but just kind of poke around and you'll be able to find them. And there is one. What we're going to do is a front post triple crochet in that first skip stitch. And then after that, this stitch or this post is actually a little harder to find. So before you actually put your stitch in, make sure you are in the right place. And there is that second skipped post. And again, we're going to do a front post triple crochet. After this, we're going to create the other decorative line, and we're going to go into the next stitch after those front post triple crochets, and we're going to do a back post double crochet. Like I said, this is just making that decorative line pop a little bit more. After that, in the next post, you're going to do a front post double crochet, and then finish off this row with 4 double crochets. It looks a little messy right now, but as you get more rows, you will really start to see the back and forth of the cable. So once you finish this row, we are going to do a chain 2, turn, and we're going to go back. I think a cable stitch is a little easier to do in a round, but in this back and forth pattern, it does provide you a little more details on how to do it, and it's a little more difficult. So if you can do this, you can definitely do it in a round. So now you're on the wrong side of my swatch, or your swatch, if you're moving along with this. And we did that chain 2 turn, and then we did the first 4 stitches were double crochets, and now we are doing a back post double crochet followed by a front post double crochet. This again is making that decorative line, and after that we're going to go into the area that the cable is in, and we're just going to do 4 back post double crochets. Because you're on the wrong side, You want to do the back post so that when you're on the right side, it looks consistent and makes those cables go back and forth. So we're going to do those 4 back post double crochets, and now going into that little decorative piece on the side again for the other side, you are going to do a front post double crochet, and then you are going to do a back post double crochet. You can start to see and feel kind of how this is opposite of what you're doing on the right side of the swatch, but let me tell you, sometimes it can get a little confusing. Actually, I had to do this part twice because I did a wrong post, but the instructions are on the screen, and then you're just going to finish off this row with those 4 double crochets at the end, and we are going to go on to onto row 4 with a chain 2 turn, and then we're going to do 4 double crochets to start that row as well. And we're back on the right side of our swatch. So now we are going to go into that front post double crochet, and then the next stitch is a back post double crochet, and I'm hoping you can start to see that line and some definition here as we're moving along. And then we're just going to do front post double crochets in the next 4 stitches. In this middle section is the cabling, so this is making the cable just a little more defined, and allowing it to go back and forth a little more, I guess defined is a really good word for that. And then after you do those 4 front post double crochets, you're going to do a back post double crochet for the decoration, and followed by a front post double crochet, and finishing off the row with 4 double crochets. And then we'll be moving back to the wrong side of the swatch. As we're moving on, you're going to be making the next zigzag, I guess, of your cable. So we started this row with the chain 2, 4 double crochets in the stitches, and doing a little decoration here with a back post double crochet followed by a front post double crochet. And now we're going to skip the next 2 posts. This can be a little tricky on the back side, so we want to make sure we're watching right where we're at. And here we're going to do a back post triple crochet in the next 2 posts. We will be coming back to the skipped ones, but let's do these 2 back post triple crochets in those 2 posts. And this is where you want to be really careful of how you place these stitches. So what I do is those 2 treble crochets or triple crochets, I push them down so that I can find those posts, and just lay them down and put your finger on them, whatever you need to do, because otherwise they get kind of tangled up. So we're going back to one of the first skipped posts, and we're going to do that back post triple crochet. Again, pushing down that little section that we had done when we skipped over and went past these posts, you're just pushing it out of the way. And you're going to want to find that next post. And this is kind of a tricky one, so be careful where you're putting your hook placement. And just like I said, the big key, and I've said it a couple times, is to hold down those first 2 triple crochets that you had done, because going back to the skipped ones can be a little tricky. It looks a little wonky. It'll straighten out as we move along. So it looks kind of like a mess right there. But what we're going to do now is we are going to go into the next post with a front post double crochet, followed by a back post double crochet, and finishing out the row with 4 double crochets in the next 4 stitches across, so 4 double crochets in each of the stitches. We're going to be moving back to the right side of our swatch here in a moment. And we are going to do here that chain 2 4 double crochets, starting with the little decorative piece with that front post double crochet, followed by the back post double crochet. Now we're into the cable again. So it looks a little wonky because things are crossed, but what we're doing here is we're just going to do front post double crochets across those that middle section that is the cable. You might have to hunt a little bit for the posts, but just make sure that you get 4 of them and you do front post double crochets in each of them. And things are going to start straightening out again in the cable, so you'll be able to see that. After you do those front post double crochets, we're going back to that little decorative piece, that little line. And we're going to do that with a back post double crochet followed by a front post double crochet. I hope you guys are starting to see the pattern here, because really that's just a lot of it, is keeping track of where you are on your work and recognizing the pattern that we're following. Not the actual like pattern for a scarf or whatever, but the pattern of stitches. And we're going to finish off this row again, just like we've done all our other rows, with double crochets in the next 4 stitches, which will be followed by a chain 2 and turning your work. We're going back to the wrong side of our swatch again. Like I said, we are going to do those chain 2 double crochets in the next 4 stitches. And then here we're going to do a back post double crochet followed by a front post double crochet, and then in the next stitches we're just going to do back post double crochets in the next 4 stitches. Again, this is where the little cabling is happening, and once we finish that, we are going to do a front post double crochet followed by a back post double crochet and finishing off our row with those 4 double crochets. Like I said, this makes a small cable. If you want to do a larger cable, you could, or you would use 3 strands on each of the back and forth crosses, or 6 in the middle rather than the 4. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I really do like the look of this cable. It took me a little while to figure out how to do it, so I hope that you were able to follow along with my explanation. And if not, go back in the video, slow things down, just give it a try. Sometimes it's just practice. Actually, most of the time, it's just practice. Also, if you're going to continue with this cable going up, you're just going to want to repeat the rows, row 2 through row 7, and that will give you the back and forth, and it will show you how to do sets of 2 where you're starting on the right side for one set and the wrong side for the other. As always, thank you for stopping by, and peace, love, and happiness to you all. Take care.